So in Hong Kong, urban renewal is done according to the Urban Renewal Authority Ordinance. And according to the ordinance and also Urban Renewal Authority's mission, they are doing 4 Rs: redevelopment, rehabilitation, preservation, and also revitalisation. However, if you really look into the ordinance basically is more about urban redevelopment. And so very often when the Urban Renewal Authority, when they try to do work on preservation, conservation, revitalisation, and rehabilitation, they will need to partner with other organizations. What makes the Blue House conservation project special is that it's actually not done by the Urban Renewal Authority. It's actually the whole project is driven by the community together with the community supporters, and they try to change the original intention of Urban Renewal Authority's idea of turning the Blue House building cluster into a shopping facility. So instead of being a shopping facility, they want to conserve not just the building, but the community living, in the building. And that's why this Blue House building cluster actually, this conservation project actually won the highest, UNESCO award last year on heritage conservation. The original idea put forward by the Urban Renewal Authority and the Housing Society is to turn this building cluster, to remove the residents and turn this building cluster into a shopping facility with certain themes on tea and medicine. So that's normally the way of just preserving the facade or the structure of the building, but not the soul of the building, which is the community living there. So it's a living heritage, the current project. I think the key pivotal point has to do with the fact that this project is actually not just the efforts of the community. The community reached out for help. They sought the help of St. James Settlement. It so happened that St. James Settlements also has a lot of advisors. So they tap into what we call bridging social capital by other organizations. And one of these organizations is called Heritage Hong Kong. Now, the critical point is that Heritage Hong Kong was founded by 2 very powerful expatriates, and they have a lot of linking social capital connections with those in power, including people in Housing Society, in Urban Renewal Authority, and also the government. At that time, it was the Minister for Development, and so they are able to talk to these different parties, communicate, have dialogue, and persuade them how important it is to conserve the community and not just the building. And so I think that is a critical turning point for changing the direction of the whole project. Okay. Tenement housing itself, the design, actually fosters the building of a community. It has to do with the fact that, at that time, Hong Kong was not very well off. It was quite a poor economy. So people have to share housing. So these tenement buildings have all sorts of housing options. If you are poor, you just had a bed space or a bunk bed for the whole family, or you could rent a room, or like a flat. So within these tenement buildings, people choose their housing option, And because of the mixture of different kinds of, people at different level of economic, situation. So it naturally formed this kind of, community. And also the design of the building is such that they have all the flats have balconies, right? The balconies face the streets, so that also facilitate people living in the building and their connection and interactions with people at the street level. So that again helps, the development of a community. And at that time, because this area, they don't have a lot of open space. So again, the sidewalks, the streets, became their open space. That's how they shared, played, talked, chatted, etc. And also in that particular street is the headquarters of the St. James settlement as well. So the St. James settlement also played a very important role in building the community. Now, conservation for this kind of tenement building is not easy because when they were built, it was a long time ago. And they were not built according to modern, building standards. So those who want conservation and those regulatory authorities, they really need to come together, sit down, and compromise, right? How to conserve these buildings in such a way that they could meet the standards of modern regulations, whether it's fire services or building regulations. So that needs a lot of goodwill of different parties to get the job done. Yes, they actually also participate in making important decisions together with, St. James Settlements, Heritage Hong Kong, community, cultural concern. They work as sort of like a partnership. They have meetings. They have regular meetings that they come together and make big and small decisions. In building, you have to contribute, right? You have to sacrifice your time in order to build a community. Yes. For the existing incumbent residents, they are promised that the rental will be, similar. It's only the good neighbors, who will move into this building. They will be paying 20% off market rate, and that's an income source to have the project to be sustaining. Okay, unfortunately, I don't think we see any policy change at this point, but hopefully, I hope when this project matures and people can see or evaluate its impacts, it will create, a larger movement towards this kind of bottom-up, collaborative, efforts in conserving local community culture, especially when, according to the government's figure, in the coming decades, we'll have 300 times more this kind of old buildings, which require a certain kind of regeneration. So I hope the Blue House building cluster, these projects will inspire people about the value of conserving heritage buildings as a base for those who have very strong attachment to the place and to the community, to work together to rebuild, the community when a place is being gentrified or redeveloped. I think the most important component in any commons is unique commoners. If you just have St. James, but no one is interested in building a community, no use. So the people themselves are important, but they also need to be maybe facilitated or helped, assisted by people like St. James or Heritage Hong Kong or cultural community cultural concerns, right? For these people to work together to develop, cultivate, and hopefully expand this kind of commons.